Hi. Okay, so this is the 90-second almond bread. This is how I made it this morning. I used the blanched almond flour from Trader Joe's. I used the unsalted butter from Trader Joe's. I use off-brand baking powder. This is Kroger. And I use a pinch of kosher salt. This is the Morton kosher salt. Now, the recipe didn't call for salt. I found it made a huge difference. So what I do is I melt my butter, the tablespoon of butter, in the microwave. And then I take one egg. These are Trader Joe's Xtra Large eggs as opposed to just large eggs. And I put it in with the melted butter. And then I give it a quick little beat. Now I just realized I made a mistake. Take a pinch, tiny pinch of the salt, put it in with the almond flour, take my half a teaspoon of baking powder, which seems like a lot. I think it's a quarter teaspoon. I don't have the recipe in front of me, but I know I used the quarter this morning. So a quarter teaspoon of baking powder, put that in with the flour. So we've got salt, baking powder, almond flour. Mix this all up. Mix your dry ingredients together so they don't get clumped up. And then mix in your egg and butter mixture. Mix it good. And when you mix it, it's very wet when you first start mixing it. I don't know if you can see that. Do you see that? See, it's still pretty wet, but I want to make sure it mixes together really well. And once it's all mixed together, I like to let it sit for a minute and kind of get thicker. Because right now it's still wet, but it's all mixed together. And then I'm going to let it sit. Oh, and you can see too, I'm using a coffee mug with high sides so that it raises up when it cooks. Okay, we'll be right back.
Oh, this is one of your reflections in it.
And now your voice is in it.
No, so is yours.
90 seconds is up. You can see it's risen halfway up the cup. It looks kind of like a muffin. It smells like a muffin. It smells a little eggy, honestly. But if you're going to eat it with an egg, it's the perfect vehicle for an egg and bacon and cheese. It says to wait a minute to let it cool. I'm not normally that patient, so I'm going to dump it out. Ta-da! We have there a muffin. Okay. Then what I did this morning is I flipped it onto its side and I cut it in half. Okay, sharp knife. Took a sharp knife and cut it in half. Oof, hot. And this is how it looks before I toasted it. And by toasting, I browned it in butter in a pan. And that's it. 90-second almond bread.